So the topic will cover, we'll look at the client and the system requirements. Client and the system requirements. Let's say when you are doing a system for your client, you need to get the requirements from them. Requirements includes investigation, analytical techniques, problem limitation with current new systems, functionality, costs, time scale, and resources. So these are part of system analysis. System requirement, or we can say system analysis. It's the same thing. Then I'll look at the case study, look at the introduction, the needs analysis exercise. So by the end of this topic, you'll be able to produce a system design specifications to meet a client's needs. To meet a client's needs. Yes, go and eat. No, I don't eat that. Yeah. So basically, we are looking at the systems development life cycle. The systems development life cycle. Systems development life cycle consists of number of stages. So this one is used basically in software development, the systems development life cycle. There are phases that includes initiation. You have to know what is in initiation. After initiation, the second phase is systems concept development. Systems concept development. The third phase is planning. Fourth is requirement analysis. Then you design, system design. And system design. Okay, so after design, there is development, there is integration and testing. It's very important for the system to be tested before it is being handed over to the clients. Then implementation. Then implementation. And there is maintenance, operational stage, then termination. So these stages are done within a project when you are conducting a project. So those phases are actually during the project. What kind of project? When you are developing a software, the system software. So we call it a system development life cycle. System development life cycle. Project management phase one. It's about developing a new computer system involves the management of a project. Project management covers the following phases. So those also are the phases in project management. There is planning, there is implementation, there is delivery, there is support and monitoring. Support and monitoring. There are maybe various in both the SDLC and project plan, depending on the nature of the project. There are a number of standard approaches to both SDLC and the project planning, to both SDLC and a project planning. I talked about requirements. The requirements, these are the analysis. These are the things that you need in order for you to develop the system, the computer system. And these requirements are coming from the clients. We call it the end users. So the end users are going to provide you with the requirement specifications. We can call them requirements analysis or basically needs of a system design. So this is a process of finding out what the user, the customer, the client needs from the new system. So there is an entire field of study covering needs analysis. We shall just present the key steps in basic approach in this module. Have you started learning SDT? Hello?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So even SDT will continue some kind of the same analysis. Then in the next semester, level 2, level 4, level 2, you also continue the same thing. Good. You're making noise. So requirement is station getting the requirements for the computer system for stakeholders. For stakeholders, certain issues affect the success of requirements and station. We have unclear mission, misalignment of understanding and different agendas, changing the requirements, understanding of technology, understanding of technology. These are found in the requirement elicitation. Okay, go. So requirement elicitations, recommendation number 1. You can follow those 2 links you see there. One for Ian, another for Roger. If you need to find more about the requirements. So this one establishes that a project is feasible. Feasible, what is feasible? Feasible means practical. You may end up working on the project, and after spending so much money and time, you find that this project can be implemented and be practical. So understanding whether data collection may be affected by personal agendas, identify the people who hold vital information, establish the technical environment in which the system will operate, Decide which method will be used for data collection, because there are so many methods when you're collecting the data. We call them fact-finding techniques. That includes questionnaires, observations, interviews, research, background research, and so on, including brainstorming is one of them. So you can decide which one are you going to use. Then ensure that prototyping is used to address interim problems. A prototype is a working version of a system, but not a complete version of a system. It lacks the completeness. A prototype is like a model. A model is like just a plan. Okay, then guarantee the participation of stakeholders throughout the process. Evaluate the prototypes by establishing realistic use scenarios. Evaluate the prototypes by establishing realistic use scenarios. Then we have requirements negotiations. It is not always possible to establish all the requirements in initial meetings. Agendas may change, of course, agendas may change. New requirements may arise. There may be confusion between parties, e.g. users versus the management. The users and the management, they might argue. Then external factors, e.g. legislation, may impact the project. The external factors, there are all external factors. Then time and cost may impact the project. Time is very, very important. You have to know that the difference between a project and operation is that a project has got an end. A project has got a purpose. The project has a duration. The project can run for 6 months, can run for 1 year, meaning that within that 1 year, you have to finish it. You have to finish up the project. Whereas the operation, it's an ongoing, whereby you go for work, you not go, just like that. It's an ongoing. So with a project, time is very important. If you are not finishing those phases on time, you end up not finishing the project on time. Then costs also. Every budget is aligned to certain projects. So make sure that that budget should be used accordingly so that you don't run out of the resources. The project manager is responsible to making sure that the project is running successfully on time, and that will meet the end user's needs. So it is necessary to maintain a dialogue between the developers and the users, between the developers and the users. Then the priorities. In many projects, it is necessary to establish priorities like essentials and desirables, possibly based on time scale, essential in this version, desirable in this version, but essential at some future time. Desirable in some future versions, possibly based on costs. Essential, irrespective of cost, desirable if we can afford it, of course, if we can afford it. Then requirement management. A series of stages similar to an SDLC. We have tracing the requirements life history, investigating the requirements, feasibility study, design the system based on the requirements, testing against the realistic scenario, proof of concept prototypes, monitoring how the system has met the requirements. Types of requirements, don't forget, you've got types of requirements. There's a functional requirements and a non-functional requirement. What are the non-functional requirements? Non-functional requirements are associated with the generic behavior of the system and may relate to quality issues, e.g., may relate to ease of use for a peripheral device. What you are saying that for the system, there are those functional requirements that are not so important, but they're important. They are not so important in the sense that even if they're not there, the system will still work. I give you a car. If a car doesn't have a side mirror, it will still work. Then about functional requirements, if a car doesn't have an engine, it can't work. It's a requirement. It's a must that for the car to work, the engine should be there. So functional requirements are used to judge whether particular functions are performed by the system, e.g. implementation of an online transaction module for a website. So success criteria may be identified in terms of performance, quality assurance, or adherence to design standards. Do you have any questions? Any questions?
No questions.
Before I go anywhere, who is a stakeholder and who is a shareholder? What's the difference between the two?
The difference between the two is asking. It's kind of
Where is that echo coming from? Yeah, two or
Sir.
more papers. Sorry? Go ahead.
Okay. So I was saying that the shareholder is someone whereby maybe in a company, okay, just invest some money in something or a business, then becomes a shareholder. Then stakeholder, I guess. Okay, I can only explain for shareholder.
Yeah, shareholder, it's those with shares in the company, right?
Yes.
Whereas stakeholders, these are just employees who work for that particular organization. They're just stakeholders. Just
Okay.
an employee. We have two types of stakeholders. We have got internal and external. Internal is someone who is working for that particular organization. Then external is someone who is affected by that particular organization. If I say I'm a stakeholder of ShopRite, meaning that I'm interested because I do business with that particular chain store, isn't it? So we have external and internal. External, it's those who are just have other interest of maybe doing business with them. Then we have those internal who work in that particular organization. Same as primary, secondary, tertiary. Primary stakeholders are direct using the system, in this case, the users, the end users in this case, okay? So we are talking about members of staff who are using that particular system that you have designed. Then secondary stakeholders may not be using the system, but are directly affected by its operations. They are benefiting from it. They're not using it, but they are benefiting from it, isn't it? Then you have tertiary stakeholders have some lesser interest or concern for system and its operations. Maybe these can be consultants. Maybe these can be, you know what I mean. Those are they are just they are just concerned on how the system is working. Okay, they might not be they are concerned. The system will be working accordingly. Examples of stakeholders, of course, users of a computer, managers who control resources being affected by the system, governments deploying particular technologies, communities that may be impacted by the system, customers who expect additional services, investors who want a return, employees whose job are affected. Okay, remember I talked about it now, types of stakeholders. So users are internal, employees are internal, investors may be external, not maybe they are external. Actually, customers are external. Governments are also external. Communities are also external. Then determining needs, determining the requirements. I talked about the number of techniques to determine needs or to determine the requirement. Observation of a current system, you can use observations. You can use questionnaires to observe the current system. Questionnaires or interviews, questioning of current management, questioning or interviews, or studying background information, e.g. legislation, supply documentation. Problem with current system, whether manual system or the system that is currently in use. There are problems that lead everyone to come up with a new system. So if you are replacing a current system, either manual or computer-based, then you need to identify the current problem that you hope to solve with the new system. Are you aiming to increase capacity? Are you aiming to reduce time taken to do a job? Are you aiming to reduce the cost, increase profits, both, or reduce space, e.g. file storage, or improve the services? So when you are doing a certain project, when you are developing a certain system, you have the aim that you need to achieve. If there is no problem, there's no project. First of all, identify the problem, then work on that particular problem. Then if you want to reduce the environment impact, e.g. power consumptions, let's say if we give the example of those old TVs and the recent TVs, the flat screen and those bigger ones, the flat screen, they don't consume a lot of power. So this is one of the major improvements that I've seen. The older TVs, they used to consume a lot of power, a lot of space. Nowadays, you can just put your TV, you hang it, or you put it somewhere on the wall. Don't chew any space, don't take any space. Then maybe you want to provide new functionalities, or maybe you want to fix specific problems. So always the aim why you want to go with a new project. So efficient, do not just say improve efficiency. Say what area you are hoping to make more efficient. E.g., you may reduce time taken, but at the expense of using power. Okay. You may provide an improved service, but require more staff, which increase costs. Computerized system may reduce a lot of employees, where 10 people can work, 1 people can use a computer to complete the job. So with these computerized systems, also they have advantages and disadvantages if we look critically into those areas. So your new system will not automatically solve all your problems. Clearly identify what the new system does solve. Clearly identify what it does not solve. Say why the new system does not solve these problems. Identify a possible solution to remaining problems. Provide identification of feasibility and cost to resolve remaining issues. Feasibility study, we have to look at the various feasibility types. We've got technical feasibility, operational feasibility, economical feasibility, and social feasibility. So these are the types of feasibility. Then the results of need analysis. Result of need analysis. Who will be using the system? When you are developing a system, you have to know who is going to use the system. How will the system be used? What should the system do? What will the system not solve? How will the system achieve its aims? For how long is the system going to be used? What will be the boundary of the system? That is, what other system it will interact? What other system it will interact? Avoid over-specifying. You can come up with so many specifications, but at the end of the day, you won't meet them. So avoid the over-specifying. There is a tendency to look at any computer system requirement and just put in the most powerful system you can afford. So this is not the best approach. Match the system to the requirements, match the system to the users, match the system to the environment in which it will be used, match the system to the resources available. Same as when you are buying a computer, you want to buy a computer. Buy a computer according to its use. How are you going to use that computer? There are specifications of computers. Higher specifications, the expensive computers become. You can even buy a computer as worth as 50,000. But what is the purpose of buying that computer? So you have to, first of all, identify the purpose. Then documentation. Many organizations will have a standard template for needs analysis. This provides a framework for documenting the system requirements. It also provides a guide to determine the requirements in an organized way. Determining the requirements in an organized way. Most government organizations, many larger business will require the use of their template as part of the formal project management process. An example can be available on that link. Okay. Right. Any questions?
No questions, sir.
Okay. This topic is shorter, the needs analysis. Then
Sorry.
I'm showing it's shorter. As you can see, it has ended. And today we're supposed to do just 1 hour, but at least we finish this topic. Next week, I want us to go. We're having computer systems on Monday, right?
Yes.
Okay. I know even new students, they are not submitting coursework in September, but I said all of you should start working on the assignments. I want to see what you have done on Monday, or if you haven't done anything on Monday, we are going to do something practical, isn't it?
Yes.
Concerning the assignment. Concerning the assignment.
I'm sure we'll be sending something over the weekend. I'm sure maybe Saturday or Sunday. So.
Okay. Let me give you. I'll send an email. My email on a group. WhatsApp group. I'll give you my email. Or actually, you can even send it on WhatsApp.
We can even send from here.
On WhatsApp.
Oh, okay.
Just come to my WhatsApp page. Not with a group. Okay. All right. So we don't have a class. We don't have any class with you tomorrow, isn't it?
No.
Okay. So let's talk on Monday. I might be in school physically. Monday. Okay.
Okay.
So see you on Monday.
Okay.
I have a recording for yesterday, for today, and for the other day. I'm going to send you the link so that you can start downloading those videos.